Chapter 3. Elemental Magic. After finishing another meal and a trip to the bathroom, Sena sat back on the bed. Well, that's about it for magic, but you seem disappointed. Well, a bit. Sena was from a world of science and technology that was like magic, but the magic crystal magic was similar. He had expected magic to be fancier. There are many people whose primary job is casting spells, such as high-ranking wizards. Really? Magic crystals need magic for keeping records. The records will also disappear if they're completely depleted. The patent fee to record is also enormous because of the high amount of magic required. If you inadvertently run out of magic during battle, high magicians usually carry their own magic in them as insurance for when they're in danger. But usually, they're used as a storage medium for magic power. Advanced magic also includes spells with its magic and entails making fine adjustments to things such as the accuracy of attacks. Oh, I see. A magic crystal weapon was likely to have a large output of thermal power. Gahahaha. The magic crystal is a weapon made by a magic organ, but it's also a last resort because it can provide aid and make it easy to use complicated magic. But certain things can't be reproduced with magic crystals, so regular magic isn't going anywhere anytime soon. Really? As for Sena, when he had heard that all the magic had been replaced by magic crystals, he felt like returning to country life. But then he remembered the large house that had taken the place of his parents' old cheap modern house. Of course, it was convenient for his parents who lived there, but it ruined the image of his hometown in his head. Haha. I'm sorry, but I don't like the idea of magic crystals. I know that's more convenient, but... Gahahaha. There's no need to apologize. People who come from the outside all feel the same. The use of magic thanks to magic crystal appliances has become easy. However, using magic in daily life and taking it for granted can cause a lot of accidents due to convenience. People can be too eager to confront monsters in their hunting adventures, and they can end up going completely overboard with a weapon that shouldn't be so easy to use. Those who used weapons with short ranges like swords and spears were usually fine, but those who used bows could easily hurt their allies with friendly fire unless they practiced a lot. It is useful as a weapon with great power against monsters, but it is a weapon. You still need to master it, and if you consider the cost, doing magic the old-fashioned way is still better. Yes, but certainly magic crystal tools are useful as long as you're skilled. Maybe, but you really only need them when fighting high-ranking monsters like that chimera you encountered. Oh, was that chimera's roar by any chance magical? Yes, it's called the Roar of Death. It just stops its prey's movement usually, but you're lucky. You could have died if you took a direct hit. So, if you fight against that kind of thing, you're saying it's best to have as many attack options as possible. Maybe not for you. You can use powerful magic without magic crystals. Of course, you'll have to study how and be trained first. Can you teach me? I don't have the skills to do that, but you have some scientific knowledge. You should be able to use simple magic, and that should be more than enough for now to take down goblins and orcs. By the way, goblins and orcs, how much money are they worth? Depending on the development of their magic organs, at least 100,000 for an orc. A goblin has almost no use. They're found in swarms, so it's like fishing with a net. You get a lot of small crystals, so that can get you some reasonable earnings, but it's not really worth the trouble. But is that really what you want to be doing? Baragaru stared at Sena with a serious look on his face. What else can I do? Well, you can be a hunter to pay off your debt, but you could also join the Magical Pharmacy Guild. They use magic for medicinal research and sell cures. Is there anything else? Yes, but nothing easy and in the scope of what I can get you. Anyone else might be suspicious of you. Worst comes to worse, I can just sell you like my former apprentice sold you to me. Former apprentice? You met him while fighting that chimera. So those are my only two choices. But you're in the Guild of Hunters and Adventurers. How do you have connections to the Magical Pharmacy Guild? I'm friends with the strongest magician they have. How? Well, she's kind of a pervert. But not unreasonably so. Somehow, she's still the leader of the guild. Well, I don't think she even cares about her title. But that's neither here nor there. Is it okay to leave me with such a pervert? Oh no, don't get me wrong. She's truly a polite and good girl when she's being a professional. But in her free time, She is a huge perv. You'd never guess that such a pretty lady would be like that just from looking at her. His description reminded Sena of Eri. She's the kind of woman whose lovers run away when she shows her true colors. So, there's only one alternative? Gahahaha. What, are you afraid you won't be able to cut it as a magician? It's just that I know a woman who fits that description, so I don't want to get involved with another person like her. Sena's instinct told him she should be actively avoided. Well, if you stay with me, she won't do anything or I'll get involved. You can trust her to not cause any trouble anyways, since the creation of magic crystal technology, the definition of both guilds is ambiguous, so there are people who are registered in both of the guilds. They used to try to keep interfering with each other's territory. Come the next generation, there will probably be a merger. But for now it's a good way to become a lord or noble. Well, but if that is the case, there's only one answer. If I don't choose to be a hunter-adventurer here, then there's no point in being here. That was what made Sena happy. It was lucky for him that he was able to do it a few times in the Galactic Federation. But in that case, his role there was already forcibly chosen. Authority and luxury were incongruent to Sena. But as an ordinary person who didn't have anything, it was also kind of scary. That's why he had a strong admiration for the way hunter-adventurers lived by only their own power. The unknown land, the terror of the disease, and the attack of monsters. The dangers of trouble and death were familiar to Sena and were normal to him. The joy of being in a fantasy world was more important to him than that. So, he's going to become an adventurer, as expected. In the fantasy world, it was common to choose the life of an adventurer. Either way, he still had the problem of ZINV, and if he was to find a way of returning to space, he'd need to be able to explore. Well, you're still young. There's no need to limit yourself just yet. You won't be dying anytime soon. By the way, I hate to ask, but aside from those who you met earlier, was there anyone else who you told about me being sick? Oh, I see. You're a cautious one. That's a good skill to have. Your party told me you had a fever the past few days. As far as anyone knows, though, you're at my place because you're recovering from a chimera attack. Is this place far from where I passed out? It was dangerous to put Sena in the immediate vicinity as long as he was hiding. Oh, this is the old capital of Nakbar, which is a bit far from the city of Makiba where that party was based. Thanks for everything, and I look forward to your continued support. Gahahaha. Well, now that I'm done explaining things, let's talk about the money you got rewarded. You get 30% of the earnings from that chimera. Can you get it for me? Of course. But since you're not a member of the hunting guild, they won't make the proper deductions for taxes, so I'll hold on to that for you. But there are still things that haven't been appraised or valued yet. Appraised? Is that a problem? Well, the things you brought back were in good condition. Is it rare to find that large of a chimera? Well, it ranks as 6 out of 10, but they're only found in the middle level. There's no magic crystal technology there yet, and the parts that have been explored haven't even been prospected, so those are held as top-class monsters. And chimeras are a popular monster to use as a symbol of power and awe. Old royalty and aristocrats like to use them in their family crests. Oh, so they're worth a lot, right? The grade changes depending on where you took it out. In wetlands and swamps, there's the danger of gas or a volcano. Conditions such as flying in the sky are taken into account and the grade will rise. There's a lot of factors that are considered. I see. But that large chimera was low in grade, but the value it has for material is high. When considering the material, it will probably be worth a lot because it was left fairly intact. Oh, so how long will it take to appraise it? Ahahaha. I bet you have high hopes for the amount you're going to get, but just a heads up, it's not going to go that far towards your debt. Is that so? Ha ha ha. He was concerned with how much his debt was going to be a problem, but didn't want to seem ungrateful. He doesn't seem like a bad person. It's good that you want to be a hunter-adventurer. Hunter-adventurers can earn money in the short term pretty quickly. Don't expect to land large chimeras every day though, but I could see you had talent, so that's why I invested in you. Gahahaha. I'll sign the paperwork for you once we get a proper invoice in. You need to recover your physical strength in any case. You look like one of the undead, so going out in public would just be advertising that you caught a magic cold. I agree. He heard the sound of something hitting the wall and a knock at the door, and Sena sat up quickly. "Oh, are you home already? Come on in," Baragara called out. "Master, please excuse me for being late." Sena was confused by the sight of the person walking in. "Oh, is that me?" Standing there in different clothes was a man who looked exactly like Sena.